What's doing, everybody? Today is Tuesday, December 16th, talking about the Brown University shooting, the ISIS attack in Syria, the Australian massacre, Rob Reiner tragedy. I also got Senator Rick Scott and Secretary of Education Linda McMahon. Big show. Sit tight. I'm Alec Lace. This is the Alec Lace Show.
The American family is under attack. Parents are the underdog of this nation. Your children are being indoctrinated. That's right. Your children. They do not belong to the state. They do not belong to the school system. They belong to you, the parents, as a blessing from God our Father. So let's preserve, protect, and fight for the American family together. You're listening to the Alec Lace Show. The future is family.
All right, welcome everybody to the Alec Lace Show. Happy and honored, as always, to be here with you guys. Thank you for tuning in. If you're watching the broadcast as it streams live on Rumble, please get down there, hit the follow button, and don't forget to get involved in the live chat. Share it with everybody in your network. Let's get as many people into the broadcast here as possible. So much to get through. So many tragic events have happened in such a short period of time. Put your track shoes on. We're going to go through a lot of this real quick. I had already scheduled to have Senator Rick Scott and Secretary of Education Linda McMahon with me here today. So there's a lot to get to with them. Great guests. The GOP has actually held a presser today about the health care, the new health care that they're proposing with the More Health Care Act. We're going to get into all of that with Rick Scott, and we're going to end the show here with Secretary of Education Linda McMahon. So sit tight. We're going to go through this. Now, Brown University, we're going to start with. This is obviously a tragic school shooting that took the lives of Ella Cook and Muhammad Azir. I'm not sure how to pronounce the young man's name, but a tragic 2 young lives snuffed out, at least 7 in critical, 2 others that were wounded, so 9, I think, total wounded, 2 dead. And the investigation that has ensued has just been an insult to every family member that has had a loved one affected by this tragedy, because from every level, it's been incompetence. The governor, the mayor, the chief of police, Brown University president, all of them. It has been an absolute embarrassment the way that it has been handled. And if I was a parent that had a kid at Brown University, I would, number one, I would question my judgment, because the Brown University is just a woke factory. But I would pull your kid out of that school, pull the kid out of the school. What has happened here is it has got to wake you up. And number one, this mayor Smiley, this guy is an absolute joke. So I broke down this press conference, the latest one that they had last night, because I was so fired up about it. So let me rewind it for you and give you my fresh take on it right after it happened. Brown University shooting suspect is still at large, and this latest briefing that they gave us was another complete and utter disaster. I'm going to give you 5 points here that I want to make about this press briefing. Let me start right here with this weak, incompetent mayor, Smiley, that is, if there's a possible video to be made over the statement, "Weak men create hard times," it's this video right here. You guys are in the middle of a manhunt, and there's a guy out there keeping an eye on the news. He's watching to see what you're doing. Here's what the Mayor Smiley says out loud during the press conference. Listen to this.
We've all been working for now 49 hours. We're tired.
Are you kidding me? It's been 49 hours. We're tired. You're telling this guy that's out there watching this press conference, oh, we're all tired here. We're all exhausted. Go home to your husband and let someone else take charge of the investigation. If you're so tired, Mayor, if you're so tired, go home with your husband, take a nap, and let someone else get in there that knows what the hell they're doing and can convey a little bit of conviction and some confidence here that we're going to get the guy. That is the epitome of weak men create hard times right there. That guy looks weak, he's pathetic, and he's embarrassing. Get that guy off the TV. Don't let that guy on another press conference. Not when you're going to get up there and say, oh, it's been 49 hours. We're all so tired. Okay, well, go to sleep. Here's the other one. Here's the governor now. The governor of Rhode Island, he comes in because one of the reporters, and God bless whoever this reporter is that's there, because he's had enough, it sounds like. But President Trump spoke from the Oval Office today and said, yeah, you know what? A lot of this responsibility relies on Brown University here. You know, because we don't have any video from Brown. What happened to Brown University? Got 800 cameras, no video of the suspect. Oh, what happened here? How did the guy get in the building? How did they get access? Brown University initially is at fault here. That's what Trump said. This reporter asked about the governor. Oh, no, Trump's wrong. And this reporter goes right back at this guy.
Is that a fair criticism, or do you disagree with what the president
I don't
said?
think it's fair criticism.
Colonel, can you expand on that?
Why not? Because Brown University is not collaborating with you guys. You're lying to the press over here. They have facial recognition. We know that because they follow the student, they follow everybody in the neighborhood. Facial recognition. They need to release that data to everybody know who the guy is in video. We got the video Saturday. Why you guys release the video today?
I think that answers the question.
And that's where your weak mayor came in to try to bail out the weak governor because he didn't know what to say. And the governor played Mickey the Dope there. What was the question? Is he talking to me? No, I don't know. He don't know what he's doing. None of these people do. This is a complete embarrassment right here. Every one of these, they call themselves leaders. Okay, but that was where this reporter had enough and say, wait a minute, they got facial recognition technology. They have all kind of speed cameras all over the place, and you don't have any more of these a clearer picture of the person's face up front. Here you go. Now you had the Providence police chief, this knucklehead, right? This idiot. He gets up there. And he says that the citizens are safe. Citizens are safe. You know, we have officers around. Citizens are safe. The FBI says the suspect is out there armed and dangerous. So one of the reporters says, hey, wait a minute. How do you reconcile this? You're telling us that everyone's safe. The FBI's telling us this guy is armed and dangerous out there. Here is his response.
To believe that this person is no longer in the community, because can you continue to try to reassure the public that they are safe, but you also just said that this person you believe is armed and dangerous. So how can both be true?
Well, yeah, right. And that's something that's unknown, but like the mayor stated, I'll tell you that we have enhanced enforcement in that area. We have, Steph stated earlier, we have a lot of officers in the area, so in that sense, it's going to be safe. But however, as well, I just want to remind the community that our priority in law enforcement in the city is to keep our constituents safe, keep them informed, and to keep them committed, to understand that we're a professional, we're dedicated, we're going to put somebody in handcuffs, and we're going to continue to do this job. So
but do you have reason to believe that they are no longer in this community?
That's something that we're continuing to investigate.
First of all, constituents. What's he talking about, constituents? What are you, the mayor yourself? What police officer uses the word, I got to protect the constituents? They didn't elect you into office. You're not the elected official. You're the chief of the police department. What are you talking about here? And second of all, he sounds like an idiot. He had no idea what to say. He's like, yeah, well, they are safe. They're not safe. Which one is it? Make up your mind. I mean, this is a total incompetence at every level here, from the governor to the mayor, to the chief of police, to the Brown University professor who now won't even show her face anymore. She's, oh no, it has nothing to do with Brown anymore. And here's number 4. Let me point this one out because this is getting way ridiculous with this freaking sign language interpreter. Do we need the sign language guy there? I know the way you could tell if it's liberal run or if it's conservative, is there a sign language interpreter? Well, now we know that the liberals are involved. But look at this person. I'm not even going to play the audio, but look at this guy. Like, is this even really sign language? Did they just pull this guy off the street or out of a closet and say, hey, just make some motions with what you think the guy is saying? He's pointing like a gun out. What is this guy doing? He's like all into it. Put the closed captions on the TV. It's 2025. You're doing sign language? What are we doing? You're going to have people read Braille on the screen now? Go and touch the screen to read what they're saying? Put the closed captions on the screen. If you don't have closed caption available from the press conference, maybe this is part of the reason why all of your surveillance failed. I mean, this is another thing. It's like, I'm tired of seeing this freaking sign language interpreter. Get these people off the screen. Put your closed caption on. And finally here, the fifth thing, we get the new video that they put out. So they gave us multiple angles here now. Some of them with a little bit, only one. The first one they showed looks like that you could see, the picture of more of a profile where the face is. I mean, none of these things are great. None of these videos that they put out. I mean, it's ridiculous what they have put out as far as videos go. Some people have been saying maybe it's a woman that pulled this off. So is that possible? Is it a trans? I mean, I don't know, but a lot of people are saying it's a woman. One of the things that would help tip your hand is if they told you like what was yelled in the classroom. Somebody did ask that. Okay, that was another part of the press briefing where they asked, hey, but they wouldn't say what the person yelled. So people are assuming, did they yell Allahu Akbar, right? It's a good chance they didn't yell, this is MAGA country, because if they did, that would be all over the 6 o'clock news. But what did the person yell? And if the person yelled into the classroom, could you tell if it was a male voice or a female voice? But these were the pictures that they gave us. The FBI now says $50,000 reward leading to their capture. So again, praying that they do get some justice here and find this individual that's involved in it. I would imagine, you could call in and you could press 1 for Spanish or 2 for English because they're doing half of these press conferences in Spanish. But we'll see what happens. But this has been a Keystone Cops operation. This has been a complete embarrassment at every level, and it's getting worse almost with every press conference. We know that yesterday they arrested a guy, a person of interest, right? They had to come in and speak to the DEI chief of police there and tell him, no, custody is the wrong word. Well, if you knew that was the wrong word, we knew that tipped your hand right away. Something's not right here if they're saying custody's not the right word, right? And so now they released this guy. After they plastered the guy's name all over the freaking news, everyone was hunting down his background. Now they say, oh, yeah, you know what? That's not the guy. Yeah, we made a mistake there. What is going on with this entire investigation? This is brutal town. And if you're the person that pulled this off, number one, you're an animal. But number two, you're definitely sitting there laughing at what you are seeing take place in Providence, Rhode Island. It is an embarrassment for this country. I pray that they get the son of a bitch that did this. I'll give you more as soon as I have it. Follow me on X for more breakdowns.
You're listening to the AlecLace Show. The future is family.
And again, I think the most eye-opening thing or the most frustrating thing there is Mayor Smiley saying, oh, it's been 49 hours and we're tired. Like, you have 9 victims, 2 dead, and you're tired? That's the message you're giving to them? The message you're sending to the shooter that's out there? That's like, oh, good, they're all tired. They ain't coming after me. I have time here. They're all tired. How do you even say something like just that alone should make this guy be fired, replaced, resigned? That is an absolute sickness that guy would say that. Shame on him. He's the victim somehow, right? The investigators are the victim. 9 people shot, 2 dead, and somehow the victim is Mayor Smiley. Oh, I'm tired. It's been so difficult. And it goes on. So we have the surveillance footage that they gave us, and it just seems like there's a massive either cover-up or they're just this incompetent. It's one or the other. Either they're in on it or they are the worst representatives at every step that they're at, whether it's the government or the police. They got to go, all these people. They should all be fired, every one of them. The fact that any one of these people are still employed today is an embarrassment to our country. So, of course, we pray for the victims. And again, now, here's the other thing that I will tell you is we had a lot of tragic events. Terrible day for a lot of people. A terrible weekend for gun control advocates. It was a terrible weekend because they haven't a leg to stand on with any of these things that just happened. So you had the Brown University shooting that took place at a gun-free zone. Brown University is a gun-free zone. Rhode Island has some of the very strictest gun laws in the country, okay? And even Mayor Smiley, at sometimes during this press conference, he hints at, well, there's some things we got to talk about with this. I don't want to get to it now, but there's some things we got. He's talking about more gun control. They have the gun control in Rhode Island. They have a very strict gun control. Brown University, gun-free zone, which means, as we all know, the only one allowed to have a gun in a gun-free zone is a criminal. That's it, okay? We're going to get to the Australia attack here next. The Australia attack, Australia has the strictest gun laws in the world. You're not allowed to have a gun at all in Australia. Very few people are allowed to have guns in Australia. They took that away in 1996 to make you safer. Well, we're going to protect you. You don't need to have guns. We're going to protect you. Where were the police? This Australia shooting that took place went on for 20 minutes. The police didn't respond, or they froze. You had the female cops that were there. They're showing pictures, one cowering behind a car, the other ones with their hands up. Where were the police to protect these people? You promised that we'll take your guns away and we'll protect you. And what does the Prime Minister of Australia have to say? This guy has got the nerve, the gall, to get up there and say the answer to this is more gun control. Listen to this.
Is the need for tougher gun laws. And this afternoon at 4 o'clock, I will put on the agenda of the National Cabinet tougher gun laws, including limits on the number of guns that can be used or licensed by individuals.
Imagine this. Now, you had some people that stepped up there. You had the one guy that they've shown a lot, that he went up there and disarmed the one shooter. This was a father-son shooting team. They had an ISIS flag in the car. And this guy, goes up there, Dukes of Hazzard style, right? Takes his gun away from the guy. Well, here's the issue. He doesn't shoot the guy. Now, whether this is because he's morally not going to be able to take someone's life or because he doesn't know how to manipulate the weapon. He doesn't know how to use the weapon. And what happens is that guy, that we would believe is the father of the father-son team, returns to the fight, gets another gun, and shoots that guy. And continues to shoot others. So it's like, yes, it was great that this guy got involved and took the gun away, but he didn't kill the guy. And if you look, what is so strange about this shooting is the video footage that we have. These guys are just kind of walking around nonchalantly, and like they don't have a care in the world or a sense of. The one guy manipulates the gun very well. He's racking the gun, but these are not automatic weapons. They weren't like, Tech 9s or something like that, or Uzi. They weren't like, rat-a-tat-tat-tat. These were like bolt action, bang, one, bang, two, bang. It was like, and then they have to reload. There was time here for someone to pick them off, and the police were nowhere to be found. And they're walking around as if they could care less. And you got people, you have the one guy stare the guy down, points at him. It's like, very strange the way this whole entire thing went down. But you had 15 people so far. I believe it's 15 that we know that are dead. But you also had this heroic husband and wife. Now, we had this video here where they, right at the very beginning of this they did disarm. The guy disarmed the father of the gun. You could see it in the video. But it's another one of these situations where the guy either doesn't know how to use the weapon or he doesn't want to shoot the guy, but he takes the gun away from the guy and tries to beat him with it. Unfortunately, the guy grabs another gun and kills both the guy and his wife, and they lie dead in the street in an embrace. Tragic. I mean, heroic effort. But again, you're a sitting duck in Australia. You're just a sitting duck. Never give up your rights to own a gun. Don't ever let these lunatics on the left take your guns away. You die on that hill, because these people in Brown University, everyone has to cower in the corner. Everyone has to wait for help to arrive. No one can take their you don't have control of your own life in that situation. You have to wait. Just wait it out. And in Australia, everyone was a sitting duck. And even the police didn't show up. So, again, another tragedy there in Australia, but more gun laws. How about stop importing people into your country that hate you? They imported the Middle East into their country, and now they're doing Middle East things, and you're like, why is this happening here in Australia? We've done it here. You import these, the Middle East has been at war with each other in every capacity for thousands of years. You're bringing all these people into your country, and now they're at war in your country, and you're saying, oh, why is this happening here? And then they call these people Australians. Oh, diversity is our strength. They're Australians. Oh, hey, mate. These aren't Australians. And we're doing the same thing. We're bringing all these people in. Look at what we have up in Minnesota. It's loaded with Somalians. Look at what's going on in Somalia, where they come from. Somalia's been a shithole for as long as time goes back. It's been a chaos. And you're bringing all the people here. What do you think is going to happen? It's a ticking time bomb what we have in our country. But at least, as of now, you have the right to defend yourself. You still have a chance to own a gun. And they're trying everything possible to take it away from you. So, and another, speaking of the ISIS, these guys in Australia had an ISIS flag in the car. You had an ISIS attack in Syria that took the lives of 2 National Guards. Guardsman Edgar Brian Torres of Des Moines and William Nathaniel Howard of Iowa. Of Marshalltown, Iowa. These were 2 National Guardsmen from Iowa. Of course, the number one thing that came up here is, what in the world are we doing in Syria? Trump was asked this question. He answered it by saying, we're bringing peace to the Middle East, trying to stop the rise of ISIS from happening again. Again, that entire region, I mean, it's almost unsavable, the whole region. But it's like, and again, I'm not a geopolitical guy. I don't know the ins and outs of everything. We toppled Assad and we have all this other. I don't know who's who. I don't know what the point is. I just am against having us over there. I don't want our troops over there. I should say this. I don't want my sons over there. I don't want my sons going over to the Middle East. We just did that. 20 years in the GWAT. Nothing accomplished. Why are we doing it even anymore? I'm against any of it. Any of it. I don't think we should have boots on the ground anywhere in the Middle East. Pull out of that region and let it just completely just fall apart. Let them kill each other, not our boys and girls. I don't see, and then it's like, well, we're doing it over there, so it doesn't come to our shore. And then we invite everybody from there into our shore. So we say, oh, we're fighting them over there, so we don't have to fight them here. And then they come here and they're killing us. You just had the guy, the Afghan, just shot. Now we have it a miraculous with the guy, Wolf, the National Guardsman that was shot in D.C., who I believe is released. I mean, he's up, he's doing well on his own, which is a miracle. Unfortunately, the woman has passed away, the National Guard's woman. But here it was. It's like, you tell us, oh, we're going to fight them over there so we don't have to fight them here. And now they're fighting us here. The whole thing is it's just so sad to see more American lives get killed over there. And what are we accomplishing over there? What is the major goal here? What is the direction? What is the point? Peace in the Middle East? I mean, who are we fooling? Who are you fooling? To even say that sounds like a Saturday Night Live skit. Oh, we're going to bring peace to the Middle East. Really? Trump's doing what he can. He's done, he's gotten these peace agreements and all this stuff. It's just, but it only just seems like a matter of time. Trump is only going to be in there for another couple of years, and then what? To have sustainable peace in the Middle East seems to be, to me, a pipe dream. Anyway, that's it. We pray for the families of these National Guardsmen. We pray for the Australians that were killed, and we pray for these students at Brown University. And another one that happened was a tragic one, was Rob Reiner. Him and his wife are slaughtered in their house. They have their throats slit by their own son, this kid, Nick Reiner. And you look at this kid in the pictures that you see of him. I know that some of them are older ones, some of them are newer ones, but you can look at this kid. This kid's not there. I mean, this kid is not there at all. Now, you got to ask, what kind of SSRIs is this kid on? Okay. And again, he chooses not a gun. He has a knife. Okay. So you don't, again, another tragedy that the gun advocates can't jump on, right? So all three of these tragedies, the gun advocate people are out to lunch. But you have this kid looks, for all intents and purposes, looks like a maniac. I mean, he really does. I mean, you look at the pictures of this guy, something ain't right. He's not wrapped tight, and he God knows what kind of cocktails this guy is on. Antidepressants, probably up the wazoo. They're a wealthy family. They probably have access to all kinds of prescription medication, plus he's probably self-medicating on the side. I don't know. I'm just, guessing here, but something's not right with that guy. The elevator doesn't go to the top floor. And now, unfortunately, Rob Reiner and his wife were slaughtered by this kid. And imagine being 78 years old and you still have your health, and then you get your life taken away by your own son. I mean, it is an absolute tragedy. And, of course, Rob Reiner was as far left as you can get and as far touched in the head with Trump derangement syndrome as you can get. I mean, very few people have the level of Trump derangement syndrome as Rob Reiner did. He had to check himself into a mental facility after Trump won the election because he just couldn't handle it. And so Trump put out the post that melted everybody down. Not going to read the whole thing because you've seen it. It went viral. But he starts out, a very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood, right? But he goes on to talk about Rob Reiner's Trump derangement syndrome. He also, and then he finishes it with rest in peace. So these people took it as if, oh my God, Trump celebrated the death of Rob Reiner. No, he didn't. This guy, Rob Reiner, spent a decade attacking Trump. A decade attacking Trump, attacking his family, calling him this, calling him that, Russiagate, every single moment this guy spent of his life for the last 10 years, he spent it hating Trump and trying to do everything to turn his millions of followers against President Donald Trump. And then people are like, oh, my God, Trump, I get the point where people say, well, then don't tweet anything at all. You're talking about President Trump. This is a guy that's been shot, indicted. His family's come under attack. President Donald Trump is going to say whatever the hell he wants. And if you haven't figured that out by now, I don't know where you've been for the last 10 years. He's going to tell you how he feels. And so, here's the thing. They try to make it sound as if now the left, they're like, oh, they feel like they're exonerated now from thousands of them celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. They feel like, oh, now we can forget about that, as if this equalized it, as if like, oh, see, now that doesn't matter, that thousands of us celebrated in the street and dressed up as Charlie Kirk for Halloween, right? And people were fired over it at their jobs because they were so vicious the way they were celebrating. There's no celebration in Trump's text. There's no celebration there. It's a guy that hated Trump for the last 10 years. And Trump, rightfully, the guy's got Trump derangement syndrome. There's no question about that. And then you have people trying to make excuses, trying to apologize for Trump. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yes, this is a tragedy. There's no question about it. Trump says it right in the beginning of his post. A very sad thing happened. Let's not forget, when President Donald Trump was shot, most of the trending from the left was, oh, you got to get a better shooter. How do you miss? Right? When Trump's brother died, wrong Trump was trending on Twitter. When Trump went missing for 2 days, right? He didn't do a presser or he wasn't in the media for 2 days. They were celebrating. Maybe he's dead. Maybe he's dead. Ding dong, the witch is dead. They were all celebrating like the Munchkins. And then he came back and they were all, oh, man, we thought maybe he was gone. These people hate Trump and they dance on his grave. You think he gives two shits about how you feel that he said, rightfully so, that Rob Reiner had Trump derangement syndrome? What, are you crazy? Now, there is no celebration. Number one, Rob Reiner wasn't killed by a political activist. He wasn't killed for his politics like Charlie Kirk was. Charlie Kirk was killed by a left-wing lunatic who hated Charlie Kirk's politics. Trump was shot in the head by a left-wing lunatic who hated his politics. Rob Reiner was killed by his son, who was a lunatic, probably on a million SSRIs. Right? Had nothing to do with his politics. Or had nothing to do, wasn't a political assassination. This was a family tragedy that happened there. And it's a tragedy, no question about it. Sad. Many people loved them. And, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure more is going to come out. I don't know if there was some family. I mean, to slit your parents' throats, you got to have some kind of, real anger. That's vicious attack to do that. So I don't know what the story is with what was going on in that family. I'm sure more will come out. I'm sure rumors will fly all over the place, but we will see. But pray for Rob Reiner's family, his other children that are going to live with this for the rest of their lives. It is absolutely tragic. And again, it was done with a knife, so no gun needed. The gun advocates are kind of closed out of that conversation, too. All right. I think we hit all of these topics. I want to get now into the meat of this podcast here. I had already scheduled here Senator Rick Scott joining me on the podcast. Now, I'll be honest here. Healthcare is not the sexiest topic to talk about, right? Healthcare, it's almost like when we had the shutdown, how boring it was to talk about the shutdown. Healthcare, for me, is one of these topics that's so boring but so critical. And you have to pay attention. You have to know what's going on. But to listen to the intricacies of what the heck it's all about is very boring. I will admit that right out of the gate. But I know just from going through the insurance and when Obamacare came in, everything for me went up. My premiums went up. My copay went up. Everything went up for me. And I know, and I have, good insurance, right? I work for the railroad. I've got a good plan. Not as good as it used to be when Obama came in and just ruined it. But I'm blessed to have coverage for myself and for my family, 4 kids, my wife. But there's a lot of people out there that are in these positions and when Obamacare came in, like my brother's one of them. I mean, it totally changed the game for everybody. And it ruined it for so many people. Now, of course, it was great for the people that aren't paying anything into the system. Those people are like, yeah, this is great. Thanks for paying for me. You don't even get a thank you. So Rick Scott, the senator out of Florida, has this More Affordable Care Act. The GOP held a press conference today with Speaker Johnson, Leader Scalise. They were all there talking about this. I have Senator Scott, who is the author of this thing, him and Congressman Pfluger, who I just spoke to last week down there on Capitol Hill. So this is going to be the meat and potatoes of the whole next CR that's coming down the pike here in January. This is going to be, can we get the healthcare thing? It is a mess. Our healthcare system is a mess in this country, and we have got to find a path forward. So I'm going to bring Senator Scott on now to break it all down. Right after this, I got Secretary of Education Linda McMahon, education in this country, another thing that's in a shambles. We're going to get to that right after my interview with Rick Scott. Let's get it done.
Hi, I'm Emily, and I'm at the White House with my dad, and you're watching The AlecLace Show.
You're listening to The AlecLace Show. The future is family.
Joining me now, Senator Rick Scott. Welcome back to the AlecLace Show.
Well, that's nice to be with you always. Like all those pictures behind you.
Yeah, I got
especially,
you on the board there.
Charlie, you got a picture of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, I've been blessed to have a lot of great guests on the show here, and I'm grateful to have you back. It's been quite a while. And right now, Senator, a lot of the talk, we just got out of this government shutdown that took forever, and we're facing another one possibly at the end of next month, right out of the gate in the new year here. A lot of it is going to come down to healthcare and what's going to be done about that. So I wanted to just dive right in, right off the hibbity here. You've got the More Affordable Care Act. Break that down for me if you could.
Well, first off, it's really important to me that people have access to healthcare. I grew up in a family that didn't have access to healthcare. My little brother had a significant disease. My mom couldn't find a doctor or hospital in our town to take care of him. So she finally found a hospital 4 hours away, a charity hospital, and took care of him. Like a lot of the country, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I grew up in public housing. So we got to give people health care. Well, it's not health care if you can't afford it. And so what's happened with Obamacare is you can't afford it. First off, remember Obama promises we keep our docs up, lie. Keep your plant up, lie. You're going to save $2,500 a family, lie. The government's going to save money, lie. So it's just been the opposite. Lost your doctor, lost your plan. The family, the co-payments, the deductibles, premiums, they all skyrocketed, and then all cost the government more money too. So I've got a bill that says that it's More Affordable Health Care Act, and basically does this. It makes you a shopper. If we're going to help you with your health care, just like we help people with food stamps, right, for food. We don't say, we're going to, instead of giving you the money, we're going to give it to the grocery store chain and they'll decide what food you get. Maybe we ought to have the same approach with this. Stop giving the money to the insurance company and let them or government dictate what you get. Why don't you decide what you get? Your family might want something different than mine. You ought to be able to buy whatever insurance you want, right? And you ought to know the price of things. It's that simple. If you do that, you're going to make you're going to make anybody the government helps with their health care, you're going to make them shoppers of healthcare. It'll drive down the price of healthcare.
Right. Well, that's the idea of competition, right? How a competition helps set the market, drive the prices down. Now, Trump just spoke about this from the Oval Office, saying he'd like to see the people get the money instead of it going to the Democrat insurance companies. He said insurance companies have gone up 1,700%. Their profits have gone up. So we know that the Obamacare has been a disaster. The Democrats want some type of free health care for all, but I've never met a doctor yet that does all this stuff for free. So that just seems like a pipe dream plan that they have, but we need something concrete here. Is this the plan that's going to finally get something to replace this Obamacare?
Well, my goal is look, we don't have to replace it. What we're going to do is we're going to give each state the option. Do you want to keep Obamacare? You think it works really great for your citizens? Keep it. Keep your Obamacare if you like it. Now, it's not good for your citizens, but I'm going to give you an option. Okay? And this option, you're going to have freedom. I think most governors and most state legislatures are going to say, I want that freedom stuff. I want that. That's better for my people in my state. So I think that's where we're going to go. I'm very optimistic. This is what will pass. And this will actually drive down the cost of healthcare and help every American.
So you're still going to have the option for the Obamacare, is what you're saying with this, and then you also have the option. What has the Democrat feedback been so far to the bill? What do they not like about it? What seems to be the hang up, if any?
They haven't talked much about it because it's hard to complain about it. My bill says you're going to cover people with pre-existing condition, which I think you should. All right, so you don't get rid of Obamacare because the Democrats know that all they're doing is they're saying, oh, no, not that we want to get healthcare costs down. We're just going to mask it. We'll have the government pay for it. That's free, right? Oh, no, that means somebody's taxes have to go up.
Right.
We're going to borrow more money. So inflation is going to get worse, all those things. So you're paying for it one way or the other. So why don't we do it the right way and have the consumer drive the cost down? We've got to drive the delivery cost of healthcare down. That's how you save money.
Well, talk to me about these Trump health freedom accounts, because I know that's one thing that Trump has been pushing here. Is this going to be all part of this same package here? How does that tie into this?
Yep. As the president has said, stop giving the money to the insurance companies. Give it to the individual. So in my plan, they're called Trump freedom accounts. You will go into an account. You can only use it for healthcare, right? But you can pay for healthcare directly. You can go get, like, if you find a cheaper place to go get an MRI, go do it. Or you can use it to pay for premiums, deductibles, co-payments. You do all those things, but it's your money. Okay, you get to spend it the way you want to spend it. It's what we all believe in, right? We all believe in freedom, and so if we want to help people, let's actually help them.
And it'd be nice to be able to use the money, like you said, for things that you want. I know just for me, my insurance, one of the things, like my dental insurance, I get like whatever it is, say $2,000 or $2,500 a year per person on my account. But I don't really get to decide where that money is used. So it's like they get to decide, well, we can only use a certain amount towards if your son needs a filling or your daughter needs to have this. It always seems like there's such nonsense about, it's like, here's the $2,500. Why can't I apply it to what I need? Is that what this would allow me to do with healthcare?
You spend it any way you want. Yeah, so you feel like sometimes the way the insurance companies write this stuff is like they don't really want you to use it, right? They want to get the premium, but not want you to use it. It's your money.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part. Is just like the money is there. It's just there's always just certain ways you have to access it. It's like, why can't we just use it? Then if you don't use it, it's not like you get to carry it over to next year. So it's like, that's it. Now it's gone. You start fresh the next year. It's like, well, I wasted all that. Now I'm paying out of pocket. It's just, for some of us out here, Senator, it just feels like we're just getting jerked around with some of this healthcare stuff. It just seems like, and it's hard to understand, to be honest with you. A lot of it is very difficult to understand. And I feel like it shouldn't be that way. It should be more cut and dry so we know what we're getting.
You know, so my parents, my mom remarried, so my adopted dad had a 6th grade education. My mom had 11th grade education. They didn't have much education, but they weren't stupid. They were smart. Okay, they could figure out how to buy things. They could find where things were better. They knew how to take care of their health care. When they were young, they started smoking. They stopped. It was bad for their health. They learned to eat better. All these things. People are smart.
Well, this is the idea, too. It's capitalism, socialism, putting the money in putting the capital in the hands of the people, as opposed to having the capital in the hands of the state and letting them decide what to do. So, I mean, that seems to be the similar argument. But, well, right now, I know we're closing out the year here. A lot of things left on the table, Senator, here to get done, as far as getting President Trump's executive orders codified and getting a lot of stuff through. Because if we don't retain the House in 2026, they're going to be able to stonewall him for the next 2 years. And it's going to be critical right now to get as much of his agenda accomplished as possible. Where do you stand as far as Trump's been talking about nuke the filibuster? Are you down with that? What is your stance on it?
Well, I think it's going to happen. Here's why. I mean, no different. We changed the nomination process because the Democrats were blocking all the Trump nominations. They want Trump to have no success. The Democrats want a terrible economy, so we lose in 26 and they hurt Trump. They don't care about the American public. Right? All it is for them is they want power, right? So I think they're going to force it to happen. We're all going to have to come together as Republicans. We're going to say, look, if they're going to stop us from doing anything, why are we here? So I think it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I think it's going to happen because it's going to be forced by the Democrats, just like we had to change the nomination process.
Yeah, well, we may only have 12 months for it to happen because, I mean, the clock might be running out. And we know that the Democrats, once they get their hands on the power, they're going to do everything they can now. And they've been open about that. And it's a scary situation. This is the time. I mean, we've waited for this for so long and we got back and we got to make, especially some of this election integrity stuff, because if we don't get some of that stuff through, I know Trump's done the executive orders, but unless that stuff goes through, we still don't have voter ID that's required. We still don't have paper ballots, same day voting. There's so many things that need to take place here.
I agree with you. And by the way, you can't get on an airplane without an ID. Why do you get to vote without an ID?
Yeah, the only reason is to cheat, Senator. There's no other reason to not have ID other than to cheat.
Right. That's right. I mean, everybody's got an ID. This idea, though, you're disenfranchising somebody, complete BS.
Yeah, and I think that's obvious to everybody there, but it's also the same thing with the illegal immigrants. It wasn't that they, brought in illegal immigrants because they cared about the poor, struggling illegal immigrant. They cared about staying in power. That was their play for the whole time, to redistrict, which has become another thing now that we're trying to redistrict. They're saying, oh, look at all the gerrymandering going on. Meanwhile, they've done it in every state in the union.
Yep, they've done. What they did, by the way, what they did on the border is so bad for Americans. Think of how many people have died of fentanyl, how many people have died of being, of illegals. I mean, look, there's some wonderful people who want to come to our country. Come in legally. Help us fix the system so there's a merit-based legal process. We know who the hell you are, and you're not going to be a dependent on government, and you're going to help us build this great country that believes in capitalism and the Judeo-Christian values. If you don't, I would think you ought to stay home.
I think so many people underestimate how much damage fentanyl has done to this country, and Trump has now declared it to be a weapon of mass destruction, which it is. I mean, it has come through this country like a missile, Senator. It's taken out so many people. There's so many horror stories with it, and you have the Democrats that are crying about him taking out narco terrorists that are continuing to bring in, and it makes no sense. They argue on behalf of the illegal alien. They argue on behalf of the narco terrorists. Where is the argument on behalf of the American people, the American citizens?
Yeah, I'm not too worried about people. If you're bringing drugs in this country and you're trying to kill my grandkid, I'm happy if the president destroys you before you get here. I am happy with it, and I hope he does more of them.
Well, we're 1 year into Trump's second term. Give me your grade on President Donald Trump and where we are right now, and your optimism for the following year.
I think he's done. I think it's A+. I think he inherited a horrible economy. He's bringing unbelievable numbers of jobs back. He's very focused on making sure that, we're not going to just continue to let people sell into our country if we can't sell into their country. I think that's going to pay off. He's rebuilding our military. He's busting his butt to get this budget balance, stop wasting all this money. He's put together a great team. So I think he's done a great job.
What is for 2026? Obviously, hopefully avoiding this, getting the CR, the shutdown, avoiding this. But beyond that, what's your goals here for 2026? What do you want to get accomplished in the Senate?
So here's what I want to do. I want to get the budget balanced. I don't want to have a shutdown. I want to get health care, where people can afford it. Okay. I want to bring all the manufacturing back to this country. I want to stop buying generic drugs from China and India. They're bad for us. All right. And you can do that through telling people where they're made. And I want to continue to build our military. So if you think about what American family cares about, they want to have a great job. They want to have a great education for their kids. They want to be safe. And they want their freedoms. That's what we ought to be getting done this next year.
Yeah, well said, Senator. That's the American dream. So I hope, I wish you and your family health and happiness in the new year. I'm honored to have you back on the podcast. Merry Christmas to you, and thank you for joining me on the AlecLace Show.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
All right, honored to have Senator Rick Scott on the podcast. What did you guys think about the interview? Hit me with a comment down there below. Listen, the More Affordable Care Act, do we get it through, or do we have another shutdown over it? He seems to think that the Democrats won't have any kind of negative. I seem to differ there. I do believe that they'll find a way. Democrats will find a way. But I pray that we don't have to see another one of these shutdowns, and we could do something about this health care, put money into people's pockets, give them the choice. I like that idea. We'll see how it plays out. I asked Senator Scott there, too, about the nuke and the filibuster. He seems on board with that. I know the political answer, he kind of was able to avoid that by saying, I think it'll happen, yes or no. I hope he votes yes, or I hope he's really down with the nuke and the filibuster, because we have got to see the GOP on attack this year. This is it. This is it. It's the 2-minute warning right now for our country. It's the 2-minute warning. January 1st, the clock starts ticking, and it clicks until Election Day in November, and that's it. So we need to see some hurry up offense from the GOP. All right, let's turn our attention here now. Education is another thing that has been a disaster in this country. So many people on the left are sticking up for the education system in our country that's been a disaster. We're producing kids here in this country that have no idea about the history of our country. They have no idea how to do basic math, basic reading. The skills have all dropped and plummeted. We used to lead the world in every category. Now we're so far behind, yet we spend more money per student than anybody else on the planet, and we're not getting the results that we should be. And, of course, it's just like everything else, just like we saw with the military where they lowered the standards. Pete Hegseth brings them back up. Our education department lowered the standards, and we need to bring them back up, and that's what we need. So we have Secretary of Education Linda McMahon. I spoke with her last at the White House, quite a few months ago. It was an honor to get a chance. I spoke to her a couple times there. Grateful now to get her as a guest here on the podcast. I know she's very busy. Grateful that she spared a few minutes of her time to join me here. Let's get into education with the Education Secretary, Linda McMahon.
You're listening to the Alec Lace Show. The future is family.
All right, joining me now, Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon. Welcome to the Alec Lace Show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Honored to have you here. A lot of changes at the Department of Education in the year 2025. We're returning education to the states. Trump signed the executive order. I was there when he did it, but I know we still need to have Congress pass some laws and stuff. So where are we at with returning education to the states, and what has to happen next?
Well, that's a lot to unpack. But clearly, the first stage of returning education to the states is, okay, how do we accomplish this? We first have to look at what parts of the department can go where and do what. But I've embarked, if you will, on our 50-state tour to see which schools do what best, what practices are in place that are working, so that at the end of this tour, we can put together a toolkit for the states and make recommendations to them. Because as you know, the Department of Education does not control curriculum in states. We don't hire teachers. We don't buy books. We don't do any of that. So we want to make sure, as we are putting the different agencies or the different departments of the entire Department of Education over to other agencies, that we're making sure that's going to work the best for our students and the best for education around the country. So we're embarking on all of that at the same time.
What's fascinating, Secretary, is when you listen to the Democrats, you would think that the Department of Education has been a wild success, but since its inception, we haven't seen the results. They've all gone in the wrong way. I'm in the communist state of New Jersey here, and I know our education. I have 4 kids. I have 2 that have gone through high school already. One went through Catholic school, one went through the public school, and it's a vast difference in the education that's going on there, and you can see it as you're a parent, and it's almost like this no kid left behind. It's not very. You have to try very hard to fail out of the curriculum right now. So it's like, even as kids are getting through, the education they're getting is far from top notch.
Well, just to focus on that point for a second, one of the things that we talk about, is grade inflation. And that is that they've lowered the standards for kids to move through the system while they aren't really teaching the children. And I think when we look at the fact that only, according to the last NAEP scores, that only about 30% of the kids, can read proficiently in not only high school, but 8th grade and 4th grade, and do math proficiently, we're clearly failing our kids. We have failed them, over the last years. And when we look at the fact that the Department of Education was established in 1980, since that time, we've spent over $3 trillion. So it's not a question of money, but that money is not getting to the kids. It's not getting to the teachers. It's getting, to bureaucracies and administrators. And the outcome is clear. We have failed and are continuing to fail our students. And the president looked at that and said, we don't need a Department of Education. The best education is that's closest to the child, where parents and teachers are involved in their daily interaction, and they know what these kids need, and they can help, and that state superintendents can then see where the money needs to be spent in these states to be helpful in the programs. And so that's the focus of this president, and that's to make sure that money does get to the child.
Yeah. Hopefully, because we spend more per student, I think, than anybody else on the planet, just about, and we're not getting the results we should see. But you talked about this History Rocks tour that you guys are doing. You're going to all 50 states, which, to bring history, civics to the kids. We all see these videos, Secretary, of the man on the street, and people have no basic knowledge of the history of our country. And it's almost like, oh my God, I can't believe some of these videos are real. And you would think, like 100 years ago, if you went around, you would think those people would probably have a better grasp of our own history. But that's one thing that seems to have slipped completely away from the kids today.
Well, it's incredibly right. I mean, when you ask people, as you're talking about the man on the street interviews, some of them are college kids, but most of them are just, people just out on the street that are different ages, and you ask them about, what are the three branches of government, they can't tell you what they are. Ask them what the name of the vice president of the United States is, and people cannot tell you what they are. So we have to make sure that down in the lower levels of our school and our education that we are teaching about civics. When I saw a stat the other day that said that only 41% of 18 to 29-year-olds love their country. Now, how can that be? Just 41%. And I say it's because they don't know their country, and they don't know the trials and tribulations that this country went through to be what it is today. So as part of what we are doing with our History Rocks tour, because I think that's pretty catchy, history does rock. And we want to make sure as we're taking these programs around to all 50 states that we are increasing, not only the interest level to understand what happened in our country, but to have such an appreciation for what our forefathers went through. And they can proudly stand and embrace the flag and say, this is the greatest country on the face of the earth, and I'm proud to live here, and I am fortunate to be a citizen of the United States of America.
Yeah, well said, sir. So you might have to put some of this stuff in like 30-second TikTok bites or something for them to consume it. It seems like that'd be an easier way to get to them. I wanted to ask you this about the $1 billion student aid fraud that was going on. Joe Biden had that. I don't know what it was. He had these identity checks that he just let everybody get through, but it was costing the taxpayers lots of money. And you guys were able to put a stop to that.
Yeah, it was in the federal student aid program. There's we spend an inordinate amount of money in federal student aid. And for that, there are a lot of good uses of that money. And a lot of students can go to college because we do have a great program for our federal loan program. However, in this day and age of bots and ghost students, what we found is that a lot of those applications were fraudulent, and a lot of the money was going to universities. And so we were able to put a stop to that. And so far, we've shown that we have saved taxpayers so far about $1 billion from going out to people that don't exist, or even people who are dead. So I think that that's not a good use of federal funds.
Ridiculous. And I know I got to get you out of here. I'm up against the clock, but I wanted to get your take on conservatives on college campuses, just because the liberal institutions have taken over. Families are worried about sending their conservative kids to colleges. Number one, because they could be targeted. Number two, because they may come back, hating America and being anti-American and stuff like that. So how do you kind of assure conservative families that their kids will be safe, welcomed, and can thrive on some of these college campuses?
Well, clearly, I can't give anybody a guarantee for that. But what we have done is looked into a lot of the universities that have publicly had issues relative to anti-Semitism or lack of safety on campus, and we've investigated those universities, and I think you can see from some of the resolutions that we've had, like with Columbia and with other universities, like University of Pennsylvania, that was really relative, to Title IX violations. So we're bringing universities in line to make sure that the ideology is not being taught, but that education is being taught. We want really to make sure that we're having a look firsthand at where these universities are. I mean, when I look at Harvard, and by their own admission, only 3% of the faculty, 3% are conservative on the faculty. So part of what we are looking into with Harvard is, balancing that. Universities need to be places of truth seeking and for open debate. Both sides told, not one side, both sides, where freedom of speech is absolutely of top priority. But freedom of speech means both sides get to have freedom of speech. You can't take away the freedom from one to give it to the other. And I think we just have to have a rebalancing in our education, and we've gone far, far away from that. That's one of the things the president is striving so hard to do, to make sure that education, is the best that it can be in all levels.
Well said, and it does seem like they have safe spaces for just about every single category on college campuses, but not for conservatives. It seems like they're not welcome. They're painted in this negative light. And then just to get it out of here, the Brown University shooting that we just seen, they have no cameras in that engineer building because they said the building was old. Yet Brown University has spent $1 million decolonizing the library, and they got $8 billion in endowments. So how does something like that even happen?
It's tough, and that's one of the things, that we've looked at. We've looked at Brown University and a lot of the programs that they agreed to make sure they'd gotten all their DOE out and that sort of thing. But then they have, agreed to spend $50 million in workforce development programs. But, if you let things run amok on campus, you can see what can happen. But and we don't know who did this. Brown thought there was the person that was, had already been arrested, but that proved not to be the case. But we don't know what happened at Brown yet. And until we have really more facts, I kind of reserve comment on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I got to get you out of here. Like I said, I have 4 kids, Secretary. I'm praying for you, the Department of Education, and our kids in this country and our families, because we need to get our kids educated in this country. And I know you guys are on the path of doing that. Best of luck in 2026, and I'll see you there. Thanks for joining me today on the AlecLace Show.
Thank you.
All right, honored to have Secretary of Education Linda McMahon join me on the podcast here. What you guys think about the interview? What do you guys think about the education system? Are you guys seeing this in your? I'm just telling you, for myself, I have a Catholic public school. Both of them graduated. And you could see a major difference. So, if you can afford it, Catholic school is a much better way to go, in my opinion. Putting kids through both. But I understand the financial situation is very tough for so many people. It's be honest, it was one of the few. At the onset, one of the very few arguments my wife and I have had over the 20 years of our marriage, Catholic school, public school. And it's just the wokeness that's in the public school systems. And it's also the fact that you're not pressured. It's no kid gets left behind. I mean, it's you could basically just tiptoe through the thing and sleepwalk and get your diploma, and that's it, if you choose. Or you can apply yourself. But you could do the bare minimum and get by. They're not going to fail you. The reason why you see the failures is dropouts, people that drop out of school, and the majority of those kids are coming out of fatherless households. But also, too, homeschooling on the rise, and good reasons for it. I mean, we see, and they mock you every time you talk about trying to get these books out of the schools, get these guys out of the girls' locker rooms. It's like, you don't have to worry about that if you're homeschooling your kids, right? You don't have to worry about the wokeness. You don't have to worry about some guy changing in front of your daughter. You have that in the public school systems. Trump has done his best to get it out of there, but it seems to continue to be an issue. And again, it's a 90-10, 95-5 issue, I would say, of people that disagree with that. Another one of those is the border. And the Democrats seem to think they're going to run on these issues again. We're going to get men back in the women's locker room. We're going to open the border back up. And the other one now, the 90-10 issue, is the narco-terrorists. They just obliterated another narco-terrorist boat. And the leftists are like, oh, my God, Trump murdered these people. They're bringing drugs into the country, right? They're cartel members. And they're like, oh, my God, look what he did. Another 90-10 issue. You think that we care about people that are bringing drugs that are killing our people? No, go blow these people out of the water and send a message. Stop doing it. But it's another one of these issues that the Democrats are going to run on. They're going to run on saving the narco-terrorists, opening the border up, and letting men back in your daughter's locker room. I mean, that's basically the 2026 message from the Democrats. I mean, those are the high rollers right there. And Gavin Newsom is going to lead the charge in 2028. He's going to make America look like California. All right. One more show to do in 2025 before we put a bow on it and wrap it up for the year, and that will be on Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm working on a guest. I don't know if I'll have one. I may just do kind of like highlight moments of 2025, talk about what's to come in 2026. It's been a very crazy year, first year of Trump's second term, so a lot to go down the list and cover. So maybe we'll do that on Thursday. Follow me on X at AlecLace for all the upcoming announcements, or follow me for all my posts. And that's what I got here. Grateful to Secretary McMahon and Senator Rick Scott for giving me a few minutes at a time here. Grateful to you, the listener. And that's what I got. I hope you enjoyed the program. I'm praying for everyone that's been involved in these tragedies that we've had over the last few days, from Brown University to Australia to Rob Reiner. To the ISIS attack in Syria, just devastating for so many people, especially holiday time. So many people just want to enjoy the holidays with their families. You can't do it because you have evil in this world that needs to be eradicated. President Donald Trump up to that task, despite the fact that everyone is trying to stop him in his tracks. All right, God bless you, parents, you listeners out there. God bless our police, our first responders. God bless our military and our veterans. God bless America. And I will catch you guys on Thursday.
You're listening to the AlecLace Show. The future is family.